It's Monday.
Sorry.
Well, the good news is we only have about 13 more hours of it, and then it'll be Tuesday.
Uh, damn it.
Yep. Um, Paul, this back here is actually the 5-day forecast for the weather.
Yep.
It is.
Summer is not over.
Yeah, we had this real nice week of low humidity, and now we're back into what is mid 90s. There, an excessive heat warning in place because it'll feel like over 100, which is approximately about 30 C, maybe a little higher if you're in communist units. So
We have a sunroom that has these gigantic glass windows that are going to be horrific to replace, as I'm sure I will have to do at some point because I'm replacing everything in this house. But anyway, today they were like floor to ceiling covered in dew or water. I don't know what you call that. And I pointed this out to my wife because I don't think I've ever seen it like that before. And she said, that's what 100% humidity looks like.
yeah, yeah, my grass needs to be cut, but it's not getting cut because I don't feel like dying.
Yeah. Since, my daughter went back to school today, and now with the new schedule again, my wife has decided she's going to get up earlier, walk the dog, and then go for a run. And I resolved that I'm going to exercise every morning. So today was my first creaky get out of bed at 6 o'clock in the morning moment. And I think I'm going to stop doing that now. No, I'm just kidding. But I was actually kind of glad I got up early because by the time I got out for my walk, it was already incredibly sticky out. You know, you could tell it was gross.
Yeah, when I dropped my kid off at school about 7:50, and it was already 82 degrees Fahrenheit
Oh
freedom
yeah,
units
yeah.
to
It's
28.
85 here already. Yeah,
Yeah, 28 communist units. And so
yeah, it's not good.
yeah,
Well, that's why we stay inside and work at a computer because it's healthy and we have air conditioning.
unlike all you people in Seattle who do not.
Well, at least it's healthy,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. There was something else I was
been-
going to tell you, but I I have nothing. Oh, it's my wife's birthday. I think that's what I was going to mention.
Yeah. Well, happy birthday to her.
Yeah, because she said she was going to listen today, and if I didn't say happy birthday to her, I
Sure. Divorce,
yeah,
painful, 50% settlement.
which would involve a lot of computers.
Yep. I'm
All right,
I'm
I'll
going to
give
give
you
you
a
your
Surface Book.
50% in computers.
The Surface Book in a studio, but I'm keeping the Surface Book 2 and the Pro with LTE.
And also the house.
Yes. No, she's actually she's just working. It's whatever. It's a birthday.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe I should have got her Xbox All Access for her birthday instead of flowers.
Yeah. So nothing new to report there other than that it's real. So that's good. And the prices were correct. You know, $22 for the Xbox One S, which is an incredible value over time. I think it's a $20 savings at $35 per month for the Xbox One X. The two things I pointed out in my story today, I think, are the two relevant points to mention here, which is that, you know, obviously this is a way to buy something over a period of time. Some people are against that, but it's essentially a zero interest loan, you know, and you do own the product at the end of it. On the flip side, one thing that people need to understand is that these consoles are going to come down in price over that 2-year period. There's no doubt about it. In fact, as soon as this holiday period, I would imagine we're going to see sale prices, if not wholesale price reductions on both consoles again. So you need to kind of weigh those things. I realize that not everyone can pony up $500 just for the console. In the case of an Xbox One X, if you don't have any games, you got to start buying games. I think most people probably already had an Xbox, so they might be okay there. And then, of course, you have to pay for Xbox Live Gold if you want to play multiplayer online, and possibly Xbox Game Pass, which is, you know, both of us think is excellent, and it is excellent, but these things all cost money. So, you know, you just got to kind of weigh the pros and the cons here. But I think this is a cool offering. This is such a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely a way for somebody who wants a console to get one and not have to pony up. And that's, as long as you're okay with the payments, there you go.
Yep.
Yep. Paul, do you remember Teams? Remember that thing?
Vaguely. It's like when you wake up from a nightmare and you can remember parts of it, but not all of it.
Anyways, they fixed the most annoying thing about it. Finally, actually, it may not have rolled out
Okay.
this past week. It might have been a couple weeks ago. But one of the most ridiculous things you could not do in Microsoft's premier communication platform was change your microphone or webcam prior to a
Being
phone
in a
call.
conversation. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
you can
Oh, good.
you can now do that. It's amazing.
Yeah. You've had this experience, I'm sure. Sometimes you give feedback to Microsoft in this case or some whatever company, and they react in a strange way, like, "Oh yeah, I never really thought of that," or they'll say something, "Oh, that's really interesting. That that never came up during testing." And my reaction to that is always kind of the same, which is, I'm not a genius.
Right.
I'm not particularly insightful when it comes to what a product should or should not have. But in using something, I think you uncover the pros and the cons, and you kind of I think it's just natural. I think anyone using Teams would run into this issue, which is what makes it so perplexing.
Yep.
How could this thing have shipped with that configured that way, where you could not go into a settings interface as you can in Skype and configure your audio and your video and whatever else, each of the devices you want to use and so forth. Again, I don't mean it like perceptive over here. I mean, it's just obvious, and it's kind of weird to me when products ship with things that it obviously needs missing.
Yeah. I mean, that's really about it. But that's all fixed now, and it's great.
I'm glad they fixed it. So we're going to go back to using Teams?
No. I'll tell you what, though. I would be...
Yep.
If they could just integrate Skype Consumer into Teams, at least just the chat aspect of it.
It'd be nice to use one thing.
Yeah. I honestly probably would, because it was kind of nice to have Skype and OneNote and OneDrive all accessible in one place. I truly see that value, but for us, it didn't make sense because, well, we talk to Mary Jo every day, and then we have to open up Skype, and so it didn't cross that threshold yet. And
no,
so
it's I think it is on the desktop what a lot of chat apps are on mobile, which is just another way to do exactly the same thing. I don't want 3 different apps that all do the same thing. Is it fair to say if you as an organization adopted Teams today, would you have to keep Skype for Business running on the side as well, or would that effectively replace it?
So that's a wonderful question, Paul, because last week Microsoft announced that Skype. Skype and cattails. Skype for Business Online and Microsoft Teams have reached feature parity, meaning that in theory, yes, you should be able to do that. So
okay, so that means to me that out in the world, no company's actually doing that right now. No, right? I mean, because to date that hadn't been the case. So the feature parity is kind of a new thing.
Yep.
Maybe that will change things going forward.
Everyone that I've talked to who is deeply invested in Skype for Business Online, meaning they're running call centers and have a massive deployment of it, hasn't switched to Teams because it's too risky to their business. So they're not going to do it until not only has it reached feature parity, but somebody else has fallen on the sword a couple times and struggled through that transition and then make the move. Because it's, again, Skype for Business Online isn't going away anytime soon. They haven't even told us yet when it's going to go away, but it's going to be in the years. It's not going to be overnight.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, Paul, so what are my 3 new iPhone options this year?
Yeah, I meant to tell you, and I'll just tell you now publicly, you should go back and read that Bloomberg report. So as has been rumored in many places many times, Apple plans to release 3 new iPhones this year. It's interesting because the sources that Bloomberg has referred to this very specifically as an S year, which you understand, and that there would be more significant changes coming next year. But I kind of look at what they're doing this year as very significant, right? So they only very infrequently wholesale adopt a new form factor for the iPhone. Last year, they continued with the design that first debuted with the iPhone 6, with the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus, and then they had an all-new iPhone 10 design. This year, they're taking that iPhone 10 design and they're bringing it forward to all of the new devices. So there's an iPhone of some name, we don't know the names, that will replace the iPhone 10, will have the same size screen, and will essentially be the same device with an improved camera and obviously whatever the next generation chip is. But there are going to be 2 other devices. So there's a Plus device, again, that may not be the name. I just forgot the size off the top of my head, but I want to say it's 6.5 inches. It's huge.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
It will be. It could be that thing. It's interesting for me because I've been using an iPad Mini for reading.
Mm-hmm.
It's really slow. The battery life has crumbled over time. It's gotten really bad. I want to replace it, but they don't replace the iPad Mini anymore. So this thing may be big enough to be like a small tablet for a lot of people. They don't mention this in the story, but there's been other rumors about Apple Pencil compatibility, and you could sort of see how that might work on the larger phone. And then there's a phone in the middle. Again, the name is unclear. It will feature the same basic design as the iPhone 10. It will be 6.3 inches, I believe. LCD display, which is less expensive and more like the older iPhones, like the iPhone that you have or I had before, as opposed to OLED. It will be aluminum sided, and the bodies will be in various colors. So kind of a way to bring the color from the iPhone C, but without the kind of cheapness of the plastic. And that will be more affordable than the other two. We don't know the prices either, right? So the names are up in the air right now. The price range is up in the air. I think we can assume that $1,000 is going to, at the very least, will be the starting price of the really big one, as was the case with the iPhone 10 last year, right? That was $999. Wireless charging. I mean, there's not. In some ways, it was just a massive confirmation of all the stuff we've heard before. And I'm interested. I'm very curious to see, and the timing, of course, like you worried, is the Saturday or whatever it is of the weekend. You'll be in Florida before our Ignite trip.
Yeah, because why wouldn't it make life be easy?
If it makes you feel any better, Google is going to announce the new Pixels and some other hardware devices on the day that I'm flying home from a trip myself in October. So, awesome.
Mm-hmm. So basically, the fall's ruined.
Yep.
Let's cancel it.
Yep. We'll have to make sure Mehdi actually works that day so he can cover that.
Well, let's see. Microsoft should have an event in October. What else is going on in October? Well, my anniversary is on 10/3. Why don't we just do it that day? Because, that's...
I know. I have, two things I suspect I'll be doing. Well, I have, I assume I'll be invited to the Microsoft event, whatever that is. There's another event in New York I know I'll be going to. I've got 2 international trips. Google's going to launch the Pixel stuff. It's like this all happens probably in a 2-week window, which is just beautiful.
Yeah, it's going to be a feature-packed fall. That's for sure. Actually, so my wife and I went to a nice dinner last night for her birthday, and nice. I was telling her, I was like, this is going to be an expensive fall. I'm probably going to get a new Apple Watch.
I just had this conversation. Yep.
Going to get an Apple Watch. Going to get a new iPhone. And I was like, your contract or whatever phone is up for renewal and all that stuff. And she looked at me and she's like, I don't know if I really need the new one. I was like, fine.
How do you feel about my phone? There's a nice way to save $1,000 right there.
Oh, I know. Well, that was she made a very candid argument. She's like, look, this thing, she has an iPhone 7. She says, my battery life is fine. It takes the photos that I need. And that's it. What else do I need? And I was like, I'm not going to.
God, what would it be like to be a normal person,
Yeah.
Just to not care about this stuff. I'm doing this math myself. I've got $500 and something in PayPal. I'll have a trade-in that this will cover like a phone.
Yeah.
There's new Pixel books coming out. There's new iPhones coming out. I don't have a relationship with these companies, right? Like Google and Apple. I don't have a way to get review units from them, and God knows I've tried. But it makes it a little expensive. Yeah. So, not having to buy one or more of those would be pretty key.
Well, the thing I did not bring up in that conversation, and hopefully, I think she listens to this show sometimes, was that I tried to convince her in like February that I will just go buy the new one, and then you can have that iPhone X when I upgrade. Yeah. And she's like, no, I don't want the old one. And now she's all like, whatever.
There is a big, the biggest concern I had about the iPhone 10 still remains, which is the Face ID thing. Mm-hmm. I know people seem to love that. People seem to love Windows Hello on their laptops. I don't like that. I very specifically never turn it on. I like the fingerprint thing when it's there on a PC or a phone, and I like to type in a PIN and explicitly sign in when I actually want to use my computer. I just don't. Maybe it's just me.
No, I get it. Yeah.
The iPhone stuff, if they just had the fingerprint reader on the back, and they offered both, this would be a lot more of a no-brainer than it might be to me. I think that's the hardest thing, because unfortunately, to use the a version with the thumb reader now, the newest one ever it's gonna be the iPhone 8. That's the end of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
You got anything else before we shut her down today?
No, I actually wrote a ton of stuff this morning. So if you haven't gone to the site, do so. There's a bunch of stuff happening news-wise and some tips and stuff. So it's just been kind of a curiously busy day. Like I said, I got up really early today, so I kind of, was able to start early as well. But I'll probably be taking the afternoon off, frankly.
But that's a good thing, because it's been a little slow lately. So
no, actually, we have a big post I'll be doing today for Thurrott.com, which has to do with stuff that's happening in the near future, I guess. So that will be of interest to everybody, I think. But that will be sometime in the afternoon. How about you?
I don't know, just writing stuff, doing stuff. We're working on stuff for Petry, and we got this big Ignite thing coming up, and yeah. So
is there? Have you ever discussed what's going on with Petry publicly?
A little bit. Not. I don't want to get too deep into the woods, but I mean, realistically, high level here, folks. Petry is. We're gonna push out a theme update probably in mid-September, but it's more of a refactoring theme update, and we're working on a much larger site overhaul. Mostly because, as we've learned over the years, that most of the people who visit Petry, granted there's a good amount of news on there, most of those people who visit Petry are having a bad day. They're reading help articles like their SharePoint farm has crashed. They're trying to dig out data. They're looking for a PowerShell script. And so our objective on that site is to try to help those people take the next step. So that's what we're working on with that publication. And so not much is going to change over there from a content strategy and all that good stuff, but it's trying to make more deeper and meaningful connections to people who need help, because that's why they're on our site. So
Cool.
All right, folks. Well, that wraps it up for today. We'll catch you right back here tomorrow, unless my house burns down from the heat.
Hopefully not.